What if escaping poverty is easy, once you stop doing what you were taught? Most men believe poverty is a financial condition, a shortage of money, opportunity, or luck. That belief alone already disqualifies them from escape. Poverty is not an absence of resources, it is an arrangement of perception. It is a script enforced by habit, fear, and moral theater. Those trapped inside it are taught to admire suffering, to worship patience, and to mistake endurance for virtue. They are told to wait, to be grateful, to play fair in games designed to reward those who do not. Power does not hide the exit, it convinces you the exit does not exist. The first deception is the idea that effort is enough. Effort is cheap. The poor are surrounded by effort, drowning in it, exhausting themselves daily with nothing to show but fatigue. What they lack is not work, but leverage. History is unambiguous on this point. Those who rise do not outwork the masses. They position themselves above them. They move where effort compounds instead of evaporates. The laborer sells hours. The strategist acquires control. One remains dependent on time. The other bends time to his advantage. Poverty persists where men are trained to trade obedience for security, motion for progress, and morality for survival. They are taught that wanting more is greed, that ambition is arrogance, that power is immoral unless granted by permission. A man who believes these things will never escape because he will never reach. Observe how poverty teaches obedience before it teaches skill. It trains the mind to seek approval from systems that benefit from compliance. Schools reward memorization, not judgment. Jobs reward reliability, not initiative. Society praises humility while quietly transferring wealth to those bold enough to seize it. The poor are encouraged to be visible in their suffering and invisible in their ambition. They are told to announce their intentions, to justify their desires, to explain themselves endlessly. This is not kindness, it is exposure. A man who reveals his hunger invites control. A man who hides his hunger builds options. Power does not move loudly when it is effective. It moves early, quietly, and without apology. Consider how appearances are used against those at the bottom. Poverty is framed as noble, honest, even righteous. Wealth is framed as corrupt, unfair, suspicious. This moral inversion is not accidental. It keeps the poor morally superior and materially trapped. It teaches them to despise the very behaviors required to escape. Calculation becomes coldness. Cunning becomes deceit. Strategic self-interest becomes selfishness. Meanwhile, those who already possess power are never bound by these illusions. They understand that morality is a language spoken to the crowd, not a rule book followed in private. A man who waits for fairness will die waiting. A man who understands necessity moves while others debate. Escaping poverty requires a brutal internal shift, abandoning the need to be seen as good. This does not mean becoming cruel for pleasure or reckless with consequence. It means discarding sentimental myths about how the world rewards virtue. The world rewards effectiveness. Those who escape do so by aligning themselves with systems that grow, by attaching their fate to forces larger than their labor, by making themselves useful to power before attempting to possess it. They learn where money flows and why. They study incentives, not intentions. They stop asking what should be and start observing what is. This is not cynicism, it is clarity. Clarity is the rarest asset among the poor. Look at history without romance. Every rise follows the same pattern. First comes invisibility, then alignment, then decisive action. The man studies quietly while others complain loudly. He builds competence where it matters and discards skills that do not convert into leverage. He avoids unnecessary loyalty and sentimental attachments that slow movement. He does not announce his transformation because announcement invites interference. When action finally comes, it appears sudden to those who were not watching. They call it luck. It is never luck. It is preparation concealed behind silence. The poor speak early. The powerful speak late, if at all. Understand this well. Poverty is sustained by noise. Endless advice, endless motivation, endless moral lectures about patience and gratitude. Noise keeps men busy while nothing changes. Silence, on the other hand, is where strategy forms. Silence is where observation sharpens. Silence allows a man to see patterns others miss because they are too busy performing hardship for sympathy. Escaping poverty is easy only in this sense. The path is narrow, clear, and ruthless. Few take it because it requires letting go of comforting lies. Those who do not escape are not weaker. They are simply more loyal to the stories that keep them in place. The moment a man accepts that poverty is maintained by design rather than chance, his relationship with effort, time, and obedience begins to fracture. He stops mistaking movement for momentum. He stops mistaking exhaustion for progress. He notices that the poorest environments are not those without activity, but those saturated with it. Constant motion becomes a sedative, keeping the mind too occupied to question direction. This is why systems that profit from the poor never remove their burdens. They multiply them. Bills, emergencies, obligations, distractions, all carefully arranged to consume attention. A distracted man cannot plan. A tired man cannot resist. And a man who cannot resist will always be useful to someone else's ambition. What truly imprisons the poor is not lack of intelligence, but enforced immediacy. Everything must be handled now. Rent now, food now, approval now, entertainment now. The future is treated as an abstract luxury, something only the comfortable are allowed to contemplate. This is the trap. Power belongs to those who can delay gratification and, more importantly, delay reaction. The poor are trained to react to bosses, react to prices, react to crises. Reaction feels active, even heroic, but it is the opposite of control. Control begins where reaction ends. The man who escapes poverty learns to absorb pressure without responding to it publicly. He watches, he calculates, he waits until movement creates asymmetry in his favor. Notice how those at the bottom are encouraged to express everything. Their frustrations, their dreams, their anger, their plans. Expression is sold as liberation. In reality, it is surveillance volunteered willingly. A man who explains himself forfeits mystery. A man who reveals his plans invites obstruction. Those with power never tell you what they are about to do. They tell you what they have already done. Once resistance is irrelevant. Silence is not emptiness. It is a shield. It allows intention to mature without contamination. Those who speak too early are corrected by reality. Those who move quietly rewrite it. Escaping poverty also demands abandoning the fantasy of collective rescue. The idea that change will arrive through mass awakening, reform, or fairness is comforting and lethal. Systems do not collapse because they are unjust. They collapse when they are inefficient. Until then, they adapt. They absorb criticism. They monetize outrage. Waiting for the world to change is simply another form of dependency. The man who rises does not wait for permission or consensus. He identifies where systems are rigid and positions himself where flexibility is rewarded. He understands that institutions move slowly, but individuals can move between them with speed if they remain unentangled. This is why adaptability outranks loyalty. Loyalty is praised because it stabilizes hierarchies. It keeps people predictable. But loyalty without leverage is servitude dressed as virtue. Those who escape poverty learn to be loyal only to outcomes. They attach themselves to people, skills, and environments that accelerate their position, and they detach without apology when stagnation appears. This is not betrayal, it is alignment with reality. History never remembers those who stayed faithful to sinking ships. It remembers those who abandoned them early enough to matter. There is also a quieter truth rarely spoken aloud. Poverty is reinforced by identity. Many men cling to struggle because it gives them meaning. They become the hard-working one, the honest one, the patient one. These identities provide dignity, but they also provide anchors. Power requires the willingness to shed identities that no longer serve movement. The man who escapes poverty is often misunderstood, resented, accused of changing. He has changed. He has stopped performing struggle for validation. He has stopped needing to be seen as deserving. Deserving is irrelevant. Effectiveness is decisive. Study those who accumulate wealth rapidly, and you will notice a pattern that contradicts popular morality. They do not diversify their attention. They concentrate it. They do not pursue balance. They pursue dominance in narrow arenas. They accept short-term instability to secure long-term advantage. This behavior is condemned publicly and rewarded privately. The poor are told to be well-rounded, patient, and safe. The powerful are anything but. They are lopsided, obsessive, and willing to endure periods of discomfort without audience or applause. Poverty persists where men refuse to endure silence without reassurance. If there is a single internal shift that marks the beginning of escape, it is this: the replacement of hope with strategy. Hope waits, strategy moves. Hope looks upward, strategy looks around. Hope asks who will help, strategy asks who benefits. Once a man begins thinking in terms of incentives rather than intentions, the world rearranges itself, patterns emerge, openings appear. What once felt like chaos reveals structure, and structure, once seen, can be exploited. This is where poverty quietly loses its grip, not through force or rebellion, but through comprehension that arrives too late for most, and just in time for those willing to see. From this point forward, sentiment becomes a liability, because sentiment clouds timing. The poor are taught to move when emotion peaks, when frustration boils over, when anger demands release. This is precisely when movement is least effective. Power moves when others are calm, distracted, or complacent. It strikes where attention is low and resistance is unorganized. This is why desperation rarely produces escape. Desperation announces itself. It leaks through speech, posture, and decision-making. It forces men into visible gambles that invite correction. The man who escapes poverty does not act when he feels ready. He acts when conditions are asymmetric. He learns to tolerate inner urgency while maintaining outer stillness. This discipline alone separates him from the majority. Money itself is misunderstood by those who lack it. They treat it as a reward for virtue or effort, when in reality it is a signal of usefulness within a system. Money flows toward that which reduces friction, amplifies outcomes, or concentrates advantage. It avoids morality entirely. Complaining that this is unfair is like arguing with gravity. Those who rise study where friction exists and position themselves as its removal. They become bridges, bottlenecks, or accelerants. They do not ask to be paid more, they make themselves difficult to replace. Poverty persists where men focus on being liked instead of being necessary. Another illusion quietly maintained is the belief that knowledge alone liberates. Information is abundant. Wisdom is rare because wisdom demands application under uncertainty. Many poor men know exactly what they should do, yet remain immobile. They wait for confidence. Confidence never comes first. Action produces confidence, not the other way around. Those who escape act while uncertain, adjust while moving, and refine through consequence. They accept small failures early to avoid large ones later. The poor avoid failure publicly, so they fail privately for years without progress. Fear of looking foolish keeps them frozen in familiar suffering. Notice also how poverty encourages horizontal comparison. Men measure themselves against neighbors, co-workers, peers who share the same ceiling. This creates the illusion of relative success, while absolute stagnation continues. A man feels ahead because others are behind, not because he is moving upward. Power requires vertical comparison. The question is never how you rank among those trapped beside you, but how far you are from those who control access, distribution, and decision-making. Escaping poverty demands lifting your gaze uncomfortably high. It requires studying those who intimidate rather than reassure. Envy, when disciplined, becomes instruction. The poor are also conditioned to seek certainty before commitment. They want guarantees, stable paths, predictable outcomes. Such paths are crowded precisely because they are safe. Crowds crush margins. Advantage lives where outcomes are uncertain, and few are willing to stay long enough to master volatility. Those who escape poverty enter environments that feel unstable at first. They accept periods where income is inconsistent, but learning is exponential. They trade short-term security for long-term positioning. This trade is condemned by those who mistake stability for safety. Stability without control is merely slow erosion. Control, however, is never granted. It is accumulated. It begins with controlling your exposure. Every visible complaint, every public grievance, every declaration of struggle teaches the world how to handle you. Those above you learn your thresholds. They learn how little is required to pacify you. Silence disrupts this calibration. Silence forces others to guess. Guessing introduces hesitation, and hesitation creates leverage. A man who cannot be read cannot be easily managed. This is why the disciplined poor rise while the expressive poor remain stationary, applauded for honesty, and rewarded with nothing. There is a final discomfort most are unwilling to confront at this stage. Escaping poverty will alienate you before it liberates you. Old alliances weaken. Familiar validation disappears. You begin operating on timelines others cannot see, driven by incentives they do not understand. This loneliness is not a flaw in the process. It is evidence that the process is working. Power is isolating before it is stabilizing. Those who retreat at this point return to comfort disguised as community. Those who persist cross an invisible threshold. From there, the world no longer responds to their needs. It responds to their positioning. Once this threshold is crossed, failure changes its shape. It no longer looks like embarrassment or loss. It looks like feedback. The man rising stops asking whether something feels right and begins asking whether it moves him closer to leverage. He understands that most social rules exist to keep outcomes predictable, not optimal. Predictability benefits those already positioned. Breaking pattern attracts scrutiny, but scrutiny is only dangerous when you are visible and weak. The mistake most make is breaking pattern loudly. They announce reinvention, broadcast ambition, signal rebellion. This invites containment. Power does not suppress quietly moving targets, it suppresses threats that declare themselves. The disciplined man violates expectations without declaring war on them. He allows others to underestimate him because underestimation is fertile ground. This is where cruelty of a different kind enters. Not cruelty toward others, but toward the self. Comfort is reduced, distractions are cut, pleasures are delayed without ceremony. The poor are encouraged to cope. The rising are forced to confront. Every habit is audited for utility. If it does not increase clarity, stamina, or advantage, it is removed. This process feels harsh because it strips away indulgences used to numb dissatisfaction. But dissatisfaction is informative. It points directly at misalignment. Those who anesthetize it remain static. Those who endure it sharpen. This is why discipline appears cold from the outside. It is not cruelty, it is focus without apology. The greatest trap at this stage is premature generosity. As soon as momentum appears, many feel compelled to prove they are still good, still fair, still loyal to their origins. They give too much time, too much money, too much access. This generosity is praised and then exploited. Power leaks through unmanaged openings. Those who escape poverty learn to distribute benefits gradually and selectively. They help in ways that strengthen position, not weaken it. They understand that being needed by everyone makes you owned by everyone. Independence requires boundaries enforced without explanation. Resentment will follow. Resentment is the tax paid for upward movement. Another illusion dissolves here, the belief that visibility equals progress. Attention is seductive. Praise feels like confirmation. In reality, attention attracts competition long before it attracts protection. Those who rise quietly consolidate first. They build reserves, redundancy, and optionality before allowing themselves to be seen. The poor rush to display success because they crave proof. The powerful delay display because they crave permanence. This difference alone determines who keeps what they acquire. Applause is fleeting, control is durable. The man who confuses the two will experience brief ascent followed by sudden correction. At this point, relationships reorganize themselves. Conversations change tone. Old acquaintances begin to ask questions framed as concern, but driven by comparison. Advice arrives unsolicited, urging moderation, balance, caution. These voices rarely come from those ahead. They come from those left behind, attempting to slow divergence. Listening to them feels polite and reasonable. Obeying them is fatal to momentum. The man escaping poverty learns to separate signal from noise by asking a simple question. Does this voice benefit if I stay the same? If the answer is yes, the counsel is discarded without hostility. Influence is judged by incentive, not intention. Risk also becomes misunderstood by observers. From the outside, the rising man appears reckless. From the inside, he is calculating asymmetry. He risks what he can afford to lose to gain what cannot be reached safely. He avoids risks that offer applause, but threaten position. This selectivity is invisible to those who equate boldness with chaos. True boldness is precise. It is choosing when to be aggressive and when to remain inert. Most poverty decisions are reactive risks taken under pressure. Most escape decisions are deliberate risks taken under cover of patience. Timing, not courage, determines outcome. Here the old moral narratives finally collapse. The world stops appearing fair or unfair and begins appearing mechanical. Inputs produce outputs regardless of virtue. Sympathy does not change equations. Intention does not override structure. This realization is liberating for those who accept it and paralyzing for those who resist it. Once accepted, blame evaporates and responsibility concentrates. There is no one left to resent, only systems to navigate. The man who understands this stops asking why things are hard and starts asking where they are brittle. And brittle systems, once identified, do not withstand pressure for long. With this understanding, skill acquisition becomes ruthless. The man rising no longer collects knowledge for admiration or conversation. He acquires only what converts into leverage. He ignores fashionable skills and studies those that sit closest to decision-making, money flow, or control of attention. He asks which abilities shorten distance to influence, which ones place him near gates rather than crowds. Most men learn skills to feel competent. The strategic man learns skills to become unavoidable. He understands that mastery in obscurity outperforms mediocrity in visibility. While others chase credentials, he studies mechanisms. While others display certificates, he studies incentives. One seeks validation, the other secures position. This is where patience transforms from passive waiting into active pressure. The rising man is not idle, he is compressing energy. He prepares for moments that matter, instead of reacting to moments that shout. He understands that most opportunities are distractions disguised as chances. They promise motion without advantage. He declines them calmly, even when declining looks irrational to observers. Saying no becomes a strategic weapon. Each refusal concentrates focus. Each delay sharpens execution. Poverty teaches men to grab everything offered. Power teaches men to choose precisely what to take and when to take it. At this stage, fear also mutates. It no longer centers on survival, but on exposure. The fear is not of failure, but of being seen before foundations are complete. This fear is useful. It enforces discretion. It reminds the man that premature revelation is more dangerous than temporary invisibility. He learns to operate behind results rather than promises. When he speaks, it is after movement has already occurred. This reverses the usual order. The poor announce, then hope to act. The powerful act, then allow announcement to trail behind reality like a shadow. Money, when it finally begins to respond, is treated with suspicion rather than celebration. Early gains are fragile. They test discipline. Many fall here, mistaking initial reward for arrival. They expand lifestyle before position. They relax vigilance before redundancy exists. The rising man does the opposite. He reinforces. He stores momentum instead of spending it. He treats income as a tool, not a signal of worth. Every resource is evaluated by how it increases autonomy. Anything that increases dependency is delayed or refused, regardless of how deserved it feels. It is also here that moral pressure intensifies. As separation grows, accusations quietly form. You have changed. You are colder. You think you are better. These statements are rarely about ethics. They are about discomfort with divergence. Power always disturbs equilibrium. The rising man does not defend himself because defense implies guilt. He allows misunderstanding to persist because explanation weakens asymmetry. Being misunderstood is not a cost of progress. It is a byproduct. Those who cannot tolerate it self-correct back into alignment with the group they were meant to outgrow. The discipline of restraint extends even to victory. Wins are muted. Losses are absorbed privately. Emotional volatility is flattened. This emotional control is often mistaken for detachment. In reality, it is strategic insulation. Strong emotions leak information. They reveal attachment, urgency, fear. A man who can experience them internally, without displaying them externally, becomes difficult to manipulate. Others cannot tell what moves him. Unreadable men are rarely cornered. This is why power prefers calm over passion and consistency over intensity. Gradually, the environment responds differently. Conversations shorten, offers improve, resistance softens. This is not because the world has become kinder, but because positioning has shifted. The man is no longer pleading from below, he is negotiating from proximity. Poverty ends not with a dramatic escape, but with a quiet reclassification. You are no longer treated as someone to manage, motivate, or pacify. You are treated as someone whose decisions have consequences. This transition is subtle, almost invisible, and irreversible once crossed. And yet the most dangerous mistake remains ahead, confusing independence with immunity. Power attracts tests. Once movement is detected, forces adjust. Those who escape poverty but abandon vigilance are reclaimed by comfort. The process does not end when money arrives, it only changes terrain. The same clarity that dismantled poverty must now be used to defend position. Most fail not because they never escaped, but because they believed escape was the end, rather than the beginning of a more demanding game. At this point, something must be allowed to die. Not symbolically, but functionally. The old self that sought reassurance, fairness, and permission becomes incompatible with continued ascent. This death is quiet and rarely mourned by others. It happens in decisions made without explanation, in boundaries enforced without apology, in opportunities refused despite emotional pull. The man who survives this passage does not feel triumphant, he feels stripped. What remains is not confidence but clarity. He no longer needs to believe he deserves what he pursues. He understands that desire itself is justification enough, provided it is backed by competence and resolve. This is the moment most mistake as emptiness. Old motivations lose their charge. Applause feels thin. Validation feels slow. The hunger that once drove movement no longer burns the same way. This is not loss, it is transition. Appetite is being replaced by command. Those who panic here rush to refill the void with noise, indulgence, or public performance. Those who endure discover a colder, steadier force beneath ambition. They stop chasing outcomes and begin shaping conditions. They are no longer pulled forward by wanting more, but pushed forward by intolerance for vulnerability. Rebirth follows, not as inspiration, but as recalibration. The man rebuilds himself around principles that cannot be taken away. He reduces dependence on singular income streams, singular alliances, singular identities. Redundancy becomes security. Optionality becomes peace. He no longer asks how to win faster, but how to avoid being cornered at all. This shift makes him appear slower to outsiders. In truth, he is harder to stop. Speed is impressive. Irreversibility is decisive. The poor pursue momentum. The powerful pursue insulation. Here, ruthlessness acquires its final meaning. It is no longer about aggressive action, but about refusal to regress. Temptations to soften return frequently. Comfort whispers. Nostalgia calls. The idea of being liked again resurfaces. The man who has crossed rebirth recognizes these as tests of containment. Regression is always framed as balance, moderation, or happiness. He measures these offers carefully. If they reduce leverage, they are declined. Happiness without control is fragile. He chooses stability over comfort, command over pleasure, trajectory over approval. This rebirth also alters how he views others still trapped. Pity fades, so does resentment. He sees clearly now that most are not restrained by force, but by preference. They prefer certainty to opportunity, familiarity to power, moral comfort to strategic discomfort. This realization is neither cruel nor kind, it is neutral. It allows the man to stop trying to save those who do not wish to be moved. Assistance is offered only where it multiplies effect. Energy is conserved, time is guarded, compassion is applied selectively, not emotionally. The world responds to this new configuration with subtle resistance. Opportunities arrive with hidden costs. Alliances come with expectations. Invitations are extended to draw him back into visibility without protection. This is where many newly reborn figures stumble. They mistake inclusion for safety. Inclusion is surveillance. The disciplined man remembers this. He enters rooms only when exits are clear. He speaks only when silence costs more than words. He understands that power is not possession, but posture maintained over time. There is no celebration at the end of this passage. No revelation shared publicly. No declaration of arrival. The rebirth is marked only by a shift in gravity. Others begin adjusting around him. Conversations change without explanation. Negotiations start differently. Resistance becomes more polite. This is how real transformation announces itself. Not through noise, but through altered behavior of those nearby. The man does not announce his rebirth because announcement would be a return to the old need to be seen. He simply continues, unreadable, unannounced, and increasingly unavoidable. From here on, the danger is not failure, but exposure. The world tolerates power until it becomes instructive. When others begin to learn from your movement, counterforces emerge. The next stage is not about rising, but about remaining difficult to predict. What comes next is not more effort, but deeper concealment. And this is where most stories end, because few are willing to operate where credit disappears entirely and only outcomes remain. If you have made it this far, it is because a part of you already knows this truth. Poverty is not just a lack of money. It is a pattern of thinking, reacting, and settling that repeats until someone has the courage to break it. Most people stay poor, not because escape is impossible, but because changing who they are feels too dangerous. Now tell me in the comments if you are ready to abandon the version of yourself that keeps you stuck. If this message touched you and made sense, write in the comments, "I break the cycle." Let us see how many here are truly ready to step out of the life they were never meant to live. And do not forget, keep watching the next video. It is important, much more than you imagine. See you there.